Good evening. So welcome to this Working with Emotion series. So over the past few weeks, we have been looking at this kind of topic of how we can, with meditations or through meditations, work with our emotions. So what I have in mind is that we can actually, as we cultivate the different kind of meditations, hopefully help us to be more aware of our different emotions. I mean, emotions are our responses to the different things happening in our life, outside or inside. And with meditation, we can really learn how to work with our emotions, relate to them differently, and to see whether through doing so we can sort of enhance our experience of happiness, or at least help us to reduce any suffering. Because sometimes our emotional responses or reactions can bring quite a bit of distress and suffering to us. So maybe we can, with meditation, help ourselves to relate better with our emotions. So what I have in mind is through meditation, maybe we become more aware of our different emotions and how they may be affecting us, how are they triggered. We understand ourselves better. We know about our different habits of emotional responses, because a lot of them are really habitual. The different pattern of the different pattern in which we react to things in our life, different emotions come forth, and not only for us to be more aware, to have a deeper understanding of our own emotions, but hopefully we also through learning more about them, learn how we can relate to them in a more constructive way. And by that I mean maybe we can help to promote those emotional responses that are really helpful and beneficial responses that enable us to better deal with the situations in our life, and also that enhance our feeling of well-being and happiness. So one is to promote the helpful ones, and the other one is to diminish the negative impact of some of our emotions. Not all emotions are necessarily helpful. Some of them can maybe distort our view, distort our perspective. We can get trapped in a certain kind of pattern of reactivity, and also they may even increase our unhappiness or our suffering. So we want to diminish the negative impact or influences and enhance whatever that is conducive to our happiness. So that is basically my objective in this series of working with emotions. And what I've been doing is looking at two different ways we can work with emotions. First is to do with mindfulness, how we can enhance mindfulness, and through that work with our different emotional habits. And so there's one part of the class. And second part, I usually focus on how we can nurture certain emotional responses that are really helpful and that promote a sense of well-being and happiness within us. So and I have been presenting mindfulness in this context in terms of a kind of acronym which highlight four different aspects of mindfulness. It's called the RAIN, R-A-I-N. So R stands for to recognize. A stands for to acknowledge or to allow. I stands for to inquire, to investigate, and N stands for to nurture. So we have been looking at the different aspects of mindfulness slowly over the past few weeks. So just to recap a little bit, with order to recognize our mindfulness so that we are more in touch with our feelings, more in touch with our own emotions, so that we actually are able to recognize our different emotional responses. This may sound very simple, and it is very simple in a way, but quite often we may not actually recognize the different emotional responses that might be triggered, in our daily life. And of course, some of us are quite a bit out of touch with our emotional life. We may not be so in tune with the different emotions that might be arising or that might be triggered. And so recognition is a good step. First is to know what is happening. First is to recognize, I'm getting upset by what the person is saying, or I'm feeling anxious, or I feel, or I notice that I'm getting angry. Or conversely, it can be something pleasant or positive. You can really notice that I'm feeling very contented, in this situation, or you can notice I feel very well cared for, well loved. So there are different emotions, and first it's good to get to know them. Yeah, most probably our old friends that have been visiting us, throughout our life in different situations at different times. And so it's good to recognize old friends. Yeah, so that's R. And A stands for to acknowledge or to allow. Because very commonly when we start to work with our emotions, when we become aware of them, we have very habituated, almost like a reflex, knee-jerk reaction towards them. And usually within the Buddhist context, which is what I'm teaching from, we have two very typical kind of knee-jerk reaction. Towards some, we have this grasping tendency, this clinging tendency. We want more, give me more. How can I get it back? And with another, usually the more unpleasant one, we have this tendency to push it away. I want to get rid of it. I want to be done with it. I want to destroy it. So these are very polar opposites of clinging and pushing up, pulling, clinging, and pushing it away, trying to get rid of it or to avoid it and things like that. These two kind of reactions not very helpful when we working with our emotions. They tend to aggravate the situations. They tend to escalate the situation in not a very helpful way. Because they tend to get us, they are in a way a kind of rejection of reality, a resistance to reality. It's almost like we cannot bear to know what is real in this moment, what is reality in this moment. We are in too much of a hurry to change reality or to get out of here. So that's why we have a tendency to either grasp or to push away. We simply do not allow enough time for us to get to know what is actually happening here and now. And that is where acknowledgement or allowing comes in. Acknowledgement and allowing is to let reality into our awareness. Just pause a bit and just kind of allow ourselves to appreciate or just get to know what is happening in our life and how are we responding to that. To acknowledge our responses and to have a kind of space or pause to allow for those responses to just be here. Because not to judge, not yet, not to be too quick to judge them as good or bad, but simply to allow them to be here. Because why? Because they are already here. So to almost like give them a chance to say something. maybe our mind, our body, our hearts are trying to tell us something. So, because after all, they are responses to what is happening in our life: good things, bad things, neutral things. The emotions are just our way of a part of our how we respond to what is going on in our life. And so they actually convey quite a lot of information to us if we are ready to listen to them, to give attention to them. And then we can decide what to do, how can we continue to respond. So that is the second step of acknowledgement or allowing. A very important step actually in mindfulness practice, especially when we work with our emotions, because it is quite often this pushing away or pushing down, suppressing or avoiding, or this clinging that sort of muddy the water, make things more complicated, and makes it harder to resolve the issue at hand. So we had maybe we got upset, we get angry, which is what it is. This is how we initially react to a situation. Then we tend to, on top of it, add something else, because we sort of we don't like it. Maybe it doesn't gel well with our self-image, and so we try to suppress it or try to push it away, or we try to do something. So we sort of muddy the situation, and if you don't pay attention, you may not recognize what is actually happening here. And that actually makes it harder for us to resolve our different emotional issues, because they all get very entangled and very complicated. So when we practice mindfulness, we try to separate things out so that we can see clearer what is actually happening. What is how do I feel about this? What are my actual feelings? What are my actual reactions? And then we go from there. Yeah. So today I want to touch on the third point of I, to inquire or to investigate. So if we have recognized what is happening within us, in our body and mind, we don't have to do it sequentially. Okay, it's not always that we have to start with recognize and then acknowledge and then inquire. Sometimes we can start with inquire, especially we're not quite sure what's going on. We're not quite sure why am I feeling like this. What is going on? What sort of sensations it is. So you can start with I. It doesn't have to be start with R. It's just I think for ease of presentation, it's arranged in this way, and there is a kind of a logic behind them. But in real life situation, we are not limited to that. Yeah. So I want to inquire is in this context with mindfulness. It's not so much. Of course, we can think about it. We can ponder over it. We can analyze. We can turn it over in our mind. With our thoughts, consider different possibilities and so on and so forth. But here we are not so much talking about thinking about it. Instead, here to inquire, to investigate is another way of saying, is it possible for us to pay closer attention to what is happening, to return our attention to what is going on here and now, a more careful attention. It's almost like if you think of it as in the context of listening, like a friend would like to sort of confide in you something, to say something that's bothering them on their mind. And all we can do is to listen. And in order for us to listen, to be a good listener, we have to quiet down and allow ourselves to be present here and now, so that we can actually receive and listen to what our friend has to say, instead of maybe getting distracted, or maybe planning our speech in our mind, or being busy talking instead of listening. So if we can put aside all this and quiet down, then we are in a better place or position to listen, to attend, to give our full attention to our friend so that we can hear what he or she has to say. Yeah. So it's similar idea when we say to inquire, to investigate in this context of mindfulness is to just, is it possible for me to pause, for me to quiet down, to not make, not be too quick, so quick to judge, to criticize, or to jump to conclusion. Is it possible for me to hold off doing that for a while and just be open, receptive, and present, and just to listen closely, to attend closely to what is happening here. Of course, with emotions, sometimes we can listen to what we are saying to ourselves, our self-talk, which is the thoughts. Those are a component of our emotional response. At the time, we can attend to our physical sensations. What's happening here? What am I feeling physically? What are the different components of the physical aspect of emotions? Or we can attend to the more amorphous kind of feelings, pleasant or unpleasant or neutral that is present here. So simply coming back here and now and to pay closer attention to what is arising in this moment within our own body, our heart and mind, is to inquire. And quite often I would ask myself this question, not as an open-ended question, not expecting myself to answer in words. I will ask myself, hey, what is going on here? What is happening here? It's more to sort of bring forth a more curious, inquiring kind of state of mind that allowed me to pause and really take a closer look, or to examine and to be in touch with what I'm feeling or what is happening within myself in this moment. Yeah. So that is the I, to inquire. And in meditative practice, then you can make use of this guiding question, what is happening now? Or what is it? So it's entirely up to you how you want to do it. Sometimes I would just ask myself this question. The question is quite helpful because it serves as a way of focusing my attention on whatever it is I'm interested in. So question has this kind of power over our attention. When we ask a question, then naturally we incline to want to answer it. And to answer this question of what is happening here, I must come back and have a look at what's going on here. So it's a simple way of re-engaging our attention, inviting it back, to attend to our body, our mind, our heart, and just to listen, to be aware. Yeah. And so in terms of practice, I would recommend a way of doing it, which is as you can probably guess, with inquiring, to investigate, there is no standard procedure, and we don't always need to inquire. Sometimes we can just sit quietly in meditation and just enjoy whatever is happening. But then there are also other occasions where maybe something come to mind, or maybe we notice something is going on, something is happening in our life outside of meditation, and we may experience it or notice it within our meditation. Then we can inquire. We can take a closer look. In this next meditation we're going to do together, I invite you to sort of go back to what we have covered previously, and just to, as part of the instruction that you might want to try out, is to make a differentiation between sensing and thinking. Right? We made that differentiation previously. Sensing is to notice where our attention is with our physical senses, which in the case of meditation, predominantly will be with the ear, with listening, and with the body, with the different tactile sensations. Those of us who meditate with the eyes open, then of course we have the sight coming in. Yeah. But if you have your eyes closed, then sensing is mainly to do with listening, and sensing through the body. Yeah. So there are times when our attention is very much here and now with sensing, including sensing the breath sensations. And then there are also times where we notice our attention is not with the physical senses, but more preoccupied with thoughts, with thinking. Now, neither one of them are right or wrong. They're just the different activities of our mind, of our attention. And with mindfulness, we learn to become more aware, aware of what are the activity that is happening here and now in this moment. Where is my attention? What is my attention attending to? Sensing or thinking, right? And we make, usually I make sensing the breath as the support in this kind of meditation, which means that when we are not preoccupied with other things, when we're not investigating this or that, we can always invite attention to come back and rest on the breath, rest on sensing and being aware of the breath sensation. So that's just the support, resting place for the mind. And otherwise, we just try to keep track and try to be aware and recognize whether at any one moment are we mainly sensing or mainly thinking. And in this session of meditation, see if we can, maybe on occasion you may find yourself, you might want to inquire. Maybe you notice a particular sensations, pleasant one, unpleasant one, whatever, that caught your attention. Then you may say, oh, what is this? Can I go a bit deeper? Can I pay closer attention? Can I notice more details about this? So it can be more details about that physical sensation. Like, for example, I usually have tension in the shoulder. I might inquire and try to get a better sense of the different changing sensations at my shoulder. Right? Or it could be inquire and notice, pay more close attention to my thoughts. What was I telling myself? What is the story that I have been telling myself just now? So I might want to, inquire and pay closer attention to the thoughts that are flowing through my mind, the thoughts that might be preoccupying my attention for the last few minutes. So you might want to inquire a little bit and say, what is this story? How is it unfolding in my mind? So there is no fixed way or fixed object we need to inquire, but I'm just inviting you in this session, when something does catch your attention, and might be good to give it a try, and invite your attention. Don't worry about the breath. For the time duration of inquiry, just return your attention to wherever it is, the bodily sensations, a feeling, a series of thoughts or memories or images, and just give close attention to it, and almost like you're listening to it, and to inquire, to get to know it a bit better, right, and see what happened. Right? So that is what we're going to do now, and I invite you to meditate along with me. So first, settle your body in a suitable posture, one that feels comfortable to you to meditate in, and try to have your back upright if you're sitting. And you can most welcome in the privacy of your own room to also adopt other posture. For example, lying down on the back in the supine position on a firm surface, like for example on a yoga mat on the floor, on a firm bed, whatever. And just take care that your back, your spine is comfortable in your posture, that it is upright if you are sitting, straight if you are lying down. Rest your hands and arms in such a way that they are supported. You don't have to tense up your arm muscles to hold up your arms in any particular way during the meditation, so that we can enhance the relaxation of the shoulders. We can allow the shoulder muscles to be relaxed. Feel free to close your eyes completely if you like. You can also leave them half opened or fully opened, whichever suits you. So take a few moments and simply allow our body to find its way into our meditation posture. See if you can, in this posture, allow yourself to become aware of the sensations coming through from beneath the body, coming through at the points of contact between the body and the seat, the body and the ground. We want to allow the body to believe, to be convinced that it is well supported in this posture. It is resting on a firm, solid, stable support, and that the whole body in this posture is well balanced and safe. This will allow the body to begin an automatic process of loosening up. It can unwind and start to let go of some of those unnecessary tensions and contractions. It can, in its own time, settle down more comfortably into the posture. So that is the first step of acquiring a seat for our body meditation. And for the second step, we're going to take some time to just help body and mind to shift gears, to settle into the meditation. And we will do that with the help of the breath. So see if you can become aware of the breath sensations. It might be helpful to start with a few deep breaths. And remind yourself to release on the out breath. Allow the breath to settle back to its natural rhythm. We don't have to control the breath in any particular way. And we rest our attention on the breath sensations throughout the body so that we are able to fully experience the in-breath and the out-breath. Simple sensations of the breath within the body. Nothing special, nothing spectacular. Simply allowing ourselves to attend to those sensations and to notice the in-breath as well as the out-breath. And see if we can tune into the natural out-breath and notice the sense of the feeling of release that comes along with it. As you breathe out, we naturally relax the muscles of the diaphragm, the muscles of the chest, to allow the stale air in the lungs to be released. So maybe we can, each time we notice an out-breath, we can also release other things that are unhelpful or unnecessary to the meditation. Maybe some of the tension, the physical tensions and tightness may go with the breath, allowing the body to settle more comfortably into the posture. Maybe the different thoughts or images, memories or fantasies that preoccupy our mind, maybe some of them may also go with the breath. So coming back to the breath, invite our attention to come back here and now to rest on the breath sensations. And remind body and mind to continue to release on the out breath. Become aware that when we are in touch with the breath, we are sensing through our physical organs, sense organs, sensing through the body, the tactile sensations associated with the breath. Coming back here and now, see if you can recognize and differentiate when your attention is sensing, when your attention is either listening, becoming sounds, aware of the different tactile sensations in the body, including the breath. Notice sensing is always preoccupied with here and now, with the sounds present in this moment, with the sensations happening in this moment. And contrast that with thinking, when you recognize that your attention is together with the train of thoughts, involved in the train of thoughts. Become aware when your attention is involved with thinking. And thinking involves concepts and often removed from the present moment, from here and now. So coming back here and now to the breath as your support, see if you can differentiate, recognize when your attention is with sensing, when your attention is preoccupied with thinking. So coming back to the breath, coming back to practicing mindfulness of sensing and thinking. Now and then you may notice something that might catch your attention, and that you may consider giving it more of your attention. Notice more of its details, becoming aware, inquiring, investigating to get to know it better, be it a sensations, a sound, or a train of thought. See if you can, when that happens, to inquire, what is this? What is happening here? And allow your attention to come closer and to pay closer attention to wherever it is that you are noticing. So set our attention back to here and now, back to the support of the breath, learning to differentiate between sensing and thinking. We encourage ourselves to inquire, to go a bit deeper, to pay closer attention, to notice more details about the sound, about the sensation, or about the thoughts. Coming back to the breath, maybe you notice your attention is preoccupied with a fantasy, with a memory, with a train of thoughts. Maybe you can inquire. Notice the details. Notice the details of the images, the details of the words you use in your self-talk. Notice also things that are associated with that thought, that thinking, maybe feelings, maybe sensations, and so forth. Ask yourself the guiding question, what is happening here? So coming back to your meditation, resting your attention on the breath as a support. See if you can practice inquiring with your attention, noticing more details, be it with sensing or thinking, so that you can have a better understanding of what is happening within yourself, in your own body, in your own mind. So there's just a short meditation on mindfulness. Mindfulness, in particular, of sensing or thinking, whichever is happening in this moment, and also to see if maybe on occasion we might want to inquire, pay closer attention to what is happening. You may find that we notice more things when we are curious, when we are actively inquiring with our attention. We notice the details of the changing sensations, maybe in some parts of the body. We discern, maybe certain feelings. Feelings are quite amorphous usually, and so we can sense how it change. And maybe we start off recognizing it as one feeling, and then we end up recognizing that there are other feelings that might be present also, or believe it, or one after another. And we can also inquire and notice the kind of self-talk we are preoccupied with, the kind of thoughts in the sense of images, in the sense of narratives or commentaries that might be going through our mind, that might be preoccupying our attention. And you may notice over a period of time, patterns emerge. We settle into very habituated patterns of reactions or responding in terms of emotions. And we can notice that in our meditative practice, like this kind of rumination, the kind of thoughts that go through our mind. We might like to think that our mind goes everywhere, but it doesn't really go everywhere. Everywhere is many places, many things. In fact, it tends to go to the same few things, the same few issues or stories or whatever it is, that preoccupy our mind. And it's actually quite predictable, actually, after a while. And inquiring around us to have a deeper understanding of ourselves, deeper understanding of what is actually happening, what is affecting us, or what are we doing in this moment that is maybe that sustain the emotions or even trigger stronger emotions or escalating the emotional responses. And we wouldn't know about it unless we inquire, unless we pay closer attention. Because maybe we can think about it, and theoretically we might think, oh, maybe this is happening or that is happening. But at the end of the day, nothing beats paying attention, first-hand observation, first-hand inquiry into what is going on within ourselves, as well as what is going on outside of us. When we are not meditating, when we are engaged with interacting with others, or we are going about doing our business or whatever it is, then of course we can be mindful and we can inquire, we can pay closer attention maybe to what the other person is saying, or to the body language of the person, or to the emotional expressions on the face, or through the tone of voice. So we can also pay closer attention. We can inquire. Of course, we can also ask them how they're feeling. That's also another way of inquiring. But otherwise, we can just see if we can notice more things with our attention. So that is, I find this a very useful skill when we work with emotions, especially when we find ourselves or we notice we have recurring pattern of emotional responses. Then that might be good to inquire a bit. What is going on? What is this pattern, this repeating pattern about? What triggered it? What sustained it? What was I telling myself when I'm in one of this pattern of reactivity? What increases its intensity? What decreases its intensity? And what allowed me to step out of it? So those are things that we can come back and inquire and pay closer attention to learn more about our own emotions. Okay, so that is the mindfulness aspect of this working with emotions. Today, I want to introduce yet another quality of the heart that we can nurture through meditation. And so you can see that on one hand, we try to understand ourselves better, to be more in touch with our own feelings and emotions. And on the other hand, we also would like to give more attention to certain kind of responses, certain kind of emotional responses, to nurture them. So our attention is really like energy. I think of attention as like almost like electricity or water or whatever. Anything that is charged with energy. Wherever our attention goes to, or wherever our attention engage with, we are feeding that energy, feeding that particular pattern, it will increase it will enhance it. So our attention is very powerful, and we can use it to nurture certain kind of emotional responses that are found to be very helpful, or very, these days we use the word pro-social. It help us in our relationship with others, in our interaction with others. It's really good to nurture such certain kind of emotional responses. So today, previously I've been talking about loving kindness, kindness, which is a wonderful quality of the heart that we can nurture and really change the way we see things and we relate to things, and it is in itself is a condition for us to experience pleasant feeling, to experience happiness. And today I want to sort of touch on yet another, want to talk about appreciative joy, which is also an uplifting kind of state of mind and heart of joy, feeling happy over one's own happiness or good fortune. You feel very joyful about it, or feeling happy over others' share of happiness or good fortune. Appreciative joy is not so easy to get in touch with, because I think we live in a very competitive society, and also maybe sometimes we are more inclined to find faults or to focus more on the flaws or the failings, as opposed to focus on the positive. Yeah. So an appreciative joy is this sense of appreciation, the sense of rejoicing over something wonderful, maybe in our own life or in the experiences of others. And when we are able to really touch this quality of rejoicing, what it does is, it gives us more opportunity to feel happy, more reason to feel happy. Not only are we feel happy for the good things that are happening or has happened to us, in which we can rejoice, of course. We also give us a reason to feel happy when good things happen to others, because we can rejoice, that we feel happy for them. And so once we get into the habit of rejoicing, then it really greatly enhance our chances to feel happiness, to feel this quality of joy. Of course, conversely, there are many obstacles that prevent rejoicing. We might react with jealousy or envy instead of rejoicing. That's quite a common one. So when we are jealous or when we're envious, we are kind of comparing ourselves with others, and then we kind of focus, of course, on the lack, and react with a sense of with envy or jealousy. Yeah. So another one way we react is, instead of rejoicing, we may belittle or demean. And usually we can do that towards ourselves. Someone may congratulate us or praise us, and highlight certain good things in our lives. And some of us have the habit of demeaning it, putting it down and saying, oh, it's nothing, don't even talk about it. Definitely don't praise it or be appreciative of it. It's really nothing. Right? That's one way, and other ways is towards others. We, instead of rejoicing in others' achievements or good fortune or happiness, we might belittle it, we might put it down, we may demean it, we may discount it and devalue it and say, "Oh, what's the point of making? Why make so much noise over something so little, so trivial? It's no big deal. Everybody can do it. Why do you have to make such a big fuss over it?" And so you may find that we do that quite automatically, quite unconsciously, which is to pull it down. Something that might be seen as very good and positive, we can devalue it. And so there is another reaction, which is not rejoicing. Other kind of reactions that is might be boredom. Boredom is to say, "Oh, there's nothing interesting happening here. There's nothing good or interesting or worth paying attention to." Boredom is also one of the things that is. Whereas when we rejoice, you see something good, you appreciate that. So you see something wonderful or nice or interesting or exciting, which is why you have this feeling of joy or excitement, in a sense. And so the opposite of it can also be feeling bored. Boredom is a little bit quite an interesting state in this our modern world, fast-paced world. It's actually almost like I'm unwilling to pay attention to this object or to this person or to this situation. I'm saying there's nothing there or here that's worth paying attention to. And so I'm refusing to pay attention to it. And so that is also something that is can be a hindrance to rejoicing. So you can see actually there are quite a lot of other states of emotion responses or mental responses that are not rejoicing. So personally, I find a challenge to rejoice spontaneously, to have this feeling of appreciative joy, be it towards myself or others. And but on occasion where I'm actually able to touch that genuine feeling of appreciative joy, that is a very wonderful feeling, because it is a feeling in which we share in others' happiness or share or rejoice in our own happiness or good fortune. It's a very uplifting feeling. I have a lightness to it, a buoyancy to it. Instead of being weighed down and being preoccupied with what is negative, painful, difficult, instead of seeing no value or nothing interesting, instead of focusing on comparison and feeling that you're coming out the not so good end of it, the short-changed end of it, to reverse it and to see the positive, to engage with the positive and to be uplifted by it. So it's a wonderful actually quality of the heart to, if we can engage with it, we can nurture it, we can give the energy of our attention to it and build a habit. It takes a while to get the hang of how to rejoice or to be appreciative. And the different things we can rejoice in, and there's no limits, there's no hard and fast rule to that. In the Buddhist tradition, not only do we rejoice on the obvious, like happiness, happy incidents, happy experiences, or good fortune, or however you define good fortune. Good fortune can be include achievements, talents, like good circumstances. But there's also one category that we are encouraged to rejoice in the Buddhist teaching, which is rejoice in good deeds or virtuous, wholesome actions. Actions born out of kindness, of charity, generosity, or compassion. Actions born out of some a good place, right? Or ethics, ethical actions. To rejoice in this kind of actions, this kind of deeds, because they are a reflection of something really positive within, and they also have a very positive impact on others. And so there may not be happiness, but they are the sources of happiness. They are causes of happiness for self and others. And therefore, they are also worthy of rejoicing. So we can actually rejoice when we see others engage in really positive deeds, loving acts towards, could be towards strangers, towards those in need, and also towards loved ones. There's no limit to that, no restriction to that. And we can also rejoice in our own good deeds, our own positive acts, our own actions, wholesome actions, so to speak, because those actions not only are they beneficial for others, but also for self, and they come from a good place, from a good heart, and so they are also worthy of rejoicing, feeling happy, because these are the sources or the causes of happiness. Okay, so there's just a very brief description of this quality of appreciative joy, and let me just explain a little bit how we cultivate it in meditation, and then we'll do a meditation together. So as usual, when we come to this kind of meditation to do with feeling, to feel heartfelt qualities, I tend to use words as a support, because I find it's very demanding or a bit stressful to demand myself to bring forth the appropriate feelings. Usually it doesn't work that way for myself. So to relieve the kind of unnecessary burden on myself during meditation, I tend to rely on the support of words or phrases that best convey that sentiment, that whatever it is I'm cultivating, that attitude or that feeling. So in terms of rejoicing, you repeat two simple phrases. I would say, may your happiness continue, may your good fortune not diminish. Okay, so feel free to change the words. My teacher used the phrase, how wonderful this is, how wonderful this is, how wonderful this is, how wonderful this is. I find that a little bit challenging for myself. It's been a pessimist. It's a bit difficult for me to keep saying, to say there's so many wonderful things in the world, or in my life, or in another person's life. It's sort of a bit stretching me a bit too far. Of course, if you find wonderful, you find awesome, everything is awesome, you can use words like that. Words doesn't matter, so long as you find something that is appropriate and that represents is meaningful to you. So I would say, the phrases, may my happiness continue, may my good fortune not diminish. And usually the way I do it, I try not to do it logically or chronologically, because I find it a bit kind of too systematic, too stiff. I like it to be a bit more, try to encourage a more spontaneity, and also to have an element of surprise, even to myself in my own meditation. So I would tend to just repeat the phrases. I don't sit there and think about what to rejoice. I just repeat the phrases, and then pause for a while, and then repeat it again. And I'm trying to, by saying the words, try to maybe trigger something from within my own mind, my unconscious, so to speak. And maybe it might bring forth something. So in the case for oneself, I would say, may my happiness continue, may my good fortune not diminish. And then I'll just wait a little bit, pause. And maybe, some memories may surface. Then I say, I will consider it and say, yeah, I think that's okay. Something. Then I might rejoice in that. Rejoice in the sense that I will say the phrases in relation to that. May my that looks good. May that happiness, so to speak, continue. May my good fortune not diminish. Yeah, and then I'll just continue like this on and on. So occasionally, it's just there to stir up something, and other times it's there to express the feeling of rejoicing towards whatever that comes to mind. And we do that for oneself first, and then we can switch and do it for others. It's particularly potent when we try to do appreciative joy for the others, self or others, but usually others. Those who are, especially for those who are going through a difficult time. And it seems contradictory, especially when they are suffering, to to try to rejoice in the good things in their life. Even though at the moment they are going through a hard time, they're struggling with a lot of painful feelings or unpleasant sensations or really difficult situations. Why would we want to do appreciative joy for them in such a moment, such an occasion? I think it's good to try, because what happens is it helps to balance our view of this person. It also helps us not to solidify this view of a person as suffering. Of course, we acknowledge their pain, their difficulty, and their predominantly unpleasant experiences in this moment. But we can also hold up to something positive, something hopeful for them, even when they are maybe not in the space of mind to consider that or to even remember that. That there have also been good things in their life, that they have also been happy. And then maybe even now, as they're going through the tough time, there are also aspects of their life that are worth rejoicing in. There are also good fortune as well, even though they may be at the moment experiencing bad fortune. So it's almost like not only are we doing it for ourselves, but also doing it for them. We hold on to something hopeful and positive on their behalf and rejoice in that, even when at the moment in reality they are not ready or have not found the space of mind or heart to see it that way or to recognize that. So it's something quite hopeful and something quite positive. Also, it's for us not to get sucked into and not to get too fixated on associating this person with unhappiness. And sometimes we can get so entangled that we almost condemn the person to eternal unhappiness and suffering. But it may not be the case, because even within one day, feelings come and go, and there may be moments, even during a tough time, that there are moments where they don't feel anything, in particular neutral experiences, or there may be moments where they found, they heard a joke and it's funny, they laugh. So there can be also lighter moments, lighter experiences, even though maybe might be dominated by a lot of unpleasant feelings. Yeah. So it's challenging, but also very rewarding when we try to do appreciative joy for someone who is going through hard times. So you might want to consider that and not feel that you can't do it for that person or can't do it for ourselves. I think for the self is even more potent. Even though we are struggling with something really difficult or tough, and we might find ourselves not overwhelmed with unpleasant sensations and feelings most of the time. But we can also, even in the midst of this, practice appreciative joy. Might be a bit tough, but to appreciate, in spite of all those difficulties, that there are also other things that are good or positive or uplifting in my life. And that might help to balance things out a bit, help to stop us from spiraling downwards in a vicious cycle of negative thinking and unpleasant feelings. You might stop it and say that, hey, there's difficulties, but there are also something I can rejoice in, something really positive that I can feel happy about, and I can really appreciate, this auspicious feature of my life, or this good fortune in my life. Yeah, and that really helped to balance up things a bit. Okay, so let's do a meditation on cultivating and nurturing appreciative joy within ourselves. Just a short meditation. And we will start with self, and then we extend it to others one at a time. Yeah. So I invite you to settle your body back into your meditation posture, and taking care that your back, your spine is comfortable in the posture. Excuse me. Upright if we are sitting, and straight if we are lying down on the back. Resting our arms in such a way that we can allow the shoulders to be relaxed. We feel free to close the eyes completely or leave them open or half open. And we give our body some time to settle once again into the meditation posture. And for the first few minutes of this meditation, we're going to make use of the breath as a support, resting our attention on the breath sensations, maybe starting off with a few deep breaths, reminding ourselves to release on the out breath. Allowing the breath to settle back to its natural rhythm. We rest our attention on the breath for a few minutes, emphasizing the feeling of release each time we breathe out. Coming back to the breath, each time we breathe out, we can say the word release in our own mind. A reminder to our body that it can continue to release, to unwind, to put aside unnecessary tensions. A reminder to our mind throughout the meditation that it can let go of thoughts or images that are not related to the meditation, can allow them to flow away with the breath. And we can allow this settling down of body and mind to continue on and on in the background as we now turn our attention to the cultivation of appreciative joy. So we start by picking or choosing a few simple phrases that best convey our understanding of what it means to rejoice or to have appreciation, appreciative joy, to share in the happiness of oneself and others, to feel happy over ourselves or others' good fortune. You may want to start with my standard phrases, change them as you go along. May my happiness continue. May my good fortune not diminish. May my happiness continue. May my good fortune not diminish. As I explained, I will say the words, the phrases slowly, mindfully, with a pause in between, and I'll see whether they are able to trigger or bring to mind certain aspects of my life, certain memories, images. Can consider them in the light of appreciative joy, and if it is appropriate, I will respond to it with the words of appreciation, and maybe later on, even with the feeling of joy. May my happiness continue. May my good fortune not diminish. So coming back to the phrases are appreciative joy. See if you can allow the words to be a support for your attention, guiding your attention to come back into the meditation, onto the quality of rejoicing. May my happiness continue. May my good fortune not diminish. Coming back to the words, and as you say the words in your own mind, allow it to bring forth different memories, different images, different thoughts. Find those that are appropriate and see if you can respond to them with appreciation, with a feeling of, with thought of rejoicing by repeating the words and offering it to yourself. May my happiness continue. May my good fortune not diminish. And then feel free to continue radiating appreciative joy towards oneself if you like for the rest of the meditation. Otherwise, we can turn our attention to the other people in our life, especially those that are close to us, that we know them pretty well. And one at a time, at your own pace, can bring them to mind. Picture the person in your mind's eye. Say the similar phrases towards the person and see if you can bring forth what you know about the person, his or her share of happiness or good fortune. And see if we can respond to it sincerely with the words of appreciative joy. May your happiness continue. May your good fortune not diminish. And when we occasionally get distracted, that is perfectly normal. See if we can come back here now, come back to the words of the phrases of appreciative joy, refocus on the person you're directing it towards, and allow what you know about this person to come to mind, his or her experiences, his or her share of happiness, of fun, of joy, the various auspicious features of this person's life. Allow that to come to mind and see if we can respond with a spirit or attitude of rejoicing. May your happiness continue. May your good fortune not diminish. So coming back to the meditation on appreciative joy, feel free to stay as long or as short as you like with each person, cultivating rejoicing towards his or her life, happiness, good fortune. And when you feel ready to move on, say goodbye and bring another person to mind and repeat the whole process. May your happiness continue. May your good fortune diminish. And then finally, we put aside different images, the words. We imagine gathering up anything positive to come out of our meditation practice. We dedicate this positive momentum towards the fulfillment of our higher aspirations. We dedicate that may anything good to come out of the meditations this evening, may they stay with us, may they linger in our body and mind, may they continue to benefit us as well as those around us. So that is just a short meditation on appreciative joy. When we are actually able to spontaneously feel this sense of rejoicing or joy, it really uplifts the mind. It's a very positive state of mind, a very positive emotions, and sort of free us from, as I mentioned, from all the other kind of responses. In similar situation, we instead of we don't feel envy, jealousy, we don't feel bored. We also do not have a tendency to demean or to belittle or to devalue others or our own achievements or whatever goodness. So I think it's a really wonderful way of responding to the positive things that are happening or going on in our lives or the lives of others. And it's really a quality of heart that is really worth giving attention to nurture, to cultivate, and in turn, it will really greatly benefit ourselves. It really enhance our sense of well-being and happiness, and also you benefit other people. It's always nice to spend time with someone who is genuinely joyful and happy, and who can see and appreciate the positive sides of things, and appreciate the good fortune that we might be enjoying or experiencing. And so it's really something worth spending some time and energy, investing time and energy and attention into to help us to appreciate towards appreciative joy. We all have the ability to rejoice. It's just a matter of getting used to it and strengthening this emotional response. So with that, I covered another session on working with emotions, looking at different aspects of mindfulness, so that we really get to know our own emotions, our own emotional responses well, and also on nurturing yet another really wonderful heartfelt quality of joy. So with that, I think that's it for this week. Thank you very much for tuning in to this Working with Emotions session. And I wish you all the best, and I will see you next week. So have a good week ahead, and maybe be filled with lots of wonderful experiences, happiness, and good fortune. And so thank you. See you